is Marcus Spears. He is ESPN analyst, former defensive end, first-round pick, 20th overall by the Cowboys, and, of course, a national champion at LSU. He's part of the draft. You can catch Marcus with Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Laura Rutledge today, 4 Eastern. Extended editions on Thursday and Friday. Please welcome friend of the show, Marcus Spears.
Let's go.
What's up, fella?
Okay.
What's up, big dog? What's up, brother?
Marcus,
right here?
Yeah, right there. Marcus looks like he's in game shape. Do you think you can give me a couple of downs?
Yeah. My wife a couple of weeks ago was like, I'm tired of you being fat.
Wow.
So
But you made a living being that way, didn't you?
had to make a change there. Yeah, but I don't have to make that living anymore. So, it's a heavy burden to try to get weight off, man.
Biggest player you played against was who?
Larry Allen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was just a teammate.
Yeah.
That was practice.
Yeah, that was double teams in practice.
That was that's a bad day.
Yeah, my first game actually was against Willie Roaf when he was in Kansas City. Now, he was 100 years old, but it did not feel like it. It did not feel like it. It felt like he was 20.
So what's different about somebody that size?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, my job in my defense was to hold those guys up so our linebackers could make plays. So imagine somebody asking you to hold up 400 pounds 60 times. Like I was in the league when they ran the football all game. Like, I wish I played now. I'd probably be a lot healthier and a lot more mentally stable, but ultimately it was what I had to do.
Wait, you're unstable?
Yeah. The game made me that way.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Because you had to psych yourself out. Man, like, you know that, man. Like, you was covering it with, you had to psych yourself out to play against, like, Willie Roaf and take double teams from Flozell Adams and Larry Allen every day in practice, and, Clint Portis in Washington running it 60 times, and Ron Dane hitting you in the face mask every time. Like, it was, look, Green Bay, we here in Green Bay, ask B.J. Raji how it was. Yeah, it was different.
What was the day after game day like?
Lay in the bed. It was a lay in the bed fest. And like, it took me a couple of years for me to believe my strength and conditioning coaches about you need to move when you feel horrible. So it was very difficult for me to like put my mind around going take light jogs and lift some weights the day after a game. But as you get older, you realize it worked for you.
I saw where Jerry Jones, I guess he's all in now with maybe what they're going to do with with trades here with the draft.
We couldn't get 5 minutes, 6 minutes in before
you
started.
You played with the Cowboys, and that's the only reason why I bring that up is trying to understand the inner workings here of what
it's like when you're in a relationship and the man keep telling the woman, "I'm gonna get better," right? And she realized, like, we 15 years in now, and you still trying to do those things that you said you were going to get better at. I'm just going to wait and see with Jerry, man. Like,
But why even tease that you might do that? Why not? Where's the element of surprise?
Because Dan Patrick is going to ask me about it. Like, listen, it is, I think the intentions are good, and I say that all the time, right? The intentions are good, and then Jerry gets off on another tangent, and he forgets that he has to run a football team. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's something I grapple with most of the year since I decided to do this job.
Okay, Cam Ward goes number 1.
Yeah.
Daniel Jeremiah said that it's a certainty that Travis Hunter is going 2.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves the Giants in kind of an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Because I like Abdul Carter, but I need to know more about Abdul Carter with his foot.
Yep.
But I wonder if they're open for business of maybe somebody going up and getting Ashton Genty a little bit higher.
At 3?
Why? No, I'm just throwing it. This is the rebirth of the running back.
I know. But they just, first, I think they'll take Abdul Carter.
Okay.
Let me say that. Let me put that out there. Ashton Genty needs to reach out to Saquon and Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and be like, I sure appreciate y'all brothers, man. like for bringing us back from the dead, man. 2 years ago, we were having a conversation about running backs not being needed in the NFL. Like, it's a crazy world when it transitions like that. But I think
But you know what happened. Defenses got smaller and faster.
And everybody wanted to get physical.
And
again.
I said there would be a market correction because all of a sudden it's like you can't stop our running backs because
Will
you
it be
guys
a market
are built
correction on Wall Street?
Will there be?
Yeah. I need your help. Struggling right now. Look, man, I think generational pass rushers is what they've attached to Abdul Carter, right? And he doesn't like the comparisons of Micah Parsons, but unfortunately, when you turn the film on, you can't tell them apart. And Micah has given a really good sample size of what that type of athleticism, what that type of burst can do in a defense. And him being opposite of Brian Burns and Big Dexter Lawrence in the middle, he'll get a lot of one-on-ones. And last time we saw I know Eli and the great play get a lot of credit, but that D-line won the Super Bowl for him. So it's hard to pass that up, man. Like, it's hard to pass that up, especially if you think you're going to get a guy that's going to be a consistent 10 to 12 sacks a year. That's hard to pass up. And you're not sure on – because remember, the Giants – now, I made them know it all season long, but they took Saquon second. And that was an impactful individual position while he was healthy. But that D-line is, hey, man, I tell people all the time, if you don't start up front, I don't care who it is.
Well, that's why I looked at the Eagles, that you put the combination of offense and defensive line.
Yep.
Start there. Everybody gets caught up in quarterback or wide receiver, whatever.
Because it's boring, Dan.
I know.
It's boring.
I know.
It's boring to talk about the big uglies.
Okay, but how does that work on when you guys do NFL Live?
Yeah.
And let's say you do want to talk about defensive line.
Yep.
Because this is a draft that's full of defensive line.
Yep.
That's not sexy.
No, it's not sexy, but I don't care. Yeah,
but they have a rundown here.
Yeah, I don't screw the rundown, right? But honestly, man, like the people that I work with, especially on NFL Live, and not to cast any aspersions on anybody else, because we get a deeper dive of football. Like, that show is getting into the weeds and the nuts and bolts of football. Like, Mina is a D lineman at heart, the smallest person on earth, but she loves talking about the line of scrimmage. Dan only wants to talk about quarterbacks. Yeah. So he keeps us a happy medium. Man, RC played defense, so he gets it. He understands. He played on one of the best defenses ever in the league. So I think a lot of times, and I got to give Mark Eisman a lot of credit. Like, he understands where I fall when it comes to making sure that we get our good conversation about what's happening up front. I will fight it to the death to talk about D-line and offensive line play. More D-line play, though.
He's Marcus Spears. You were 20th overall pick, so you went before Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because, Dallas was stupid not to take him.
Were they going to take him?
No.
There was no thought of taking him.
No, they didn't need they didn't at that time. They didn't feel like they needed a quarterback, and Romo turned out to be pretty good for some years. But it's hindsight 2020, right? Like, if I was drafting again, I would take Aaron Rodgers before me.
Okay.
Right.
Well, what would you do with Romo?
He probably would never see the field. Go somewhere else and play.
I thought Romo was a very underrated quarterback.
He was.
Like, if he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, he'll play 5-7 more years and have a chance at the Hall.
He might be a borderline guy.
Yeah, borderline.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately, he got hurt.
Fortunately, he got signed by CBS.
Buddy. You know what? The Lord works in mysterious ways. Buddy, let me tell you something. If I had to hurt my back to get that, I would have did it. I would have done it too. Straight up.
You'd fake an injury.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%, man.
But do you believe anything you hear this week?
The draft?
In the next 24 hours?
Outside of the first guy, no. Like, we kind of pretty much, that assimilates a couple weeks leading into it, and you start to realize, like, okay, this is for sure. So I think the only shock would be if Cam Ward didn't go first.
Yeah, I think the Giants wanted to go up and get him.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe they're not going to interested in Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, they'll sit at 3 and wait for the best player.
If Shedeur Sanders was Shedeur Thomas.
Maybe it'll be different. Listen, here's my take on Shedeur, right? it falls in a little bit of line with C.J. Stroud, right? We talk about the athleticism, and he doesn't have that eye-popping stuff that you see now in the league where players, the Josh Allens of the world, Jordan Love here, Lamar, guys that can get out, create, and do phenomenal things. He plays the position at a high level, though. Like, and I get it that it's Colorado and he went to Jackson State. You got to figure out what the competition was like. But watching him play the position, you see a lot of traits that translate. Now, is it third overall translation? I don't think so. Like, I didn't think that was that high. I didn't think Daniel Jones should have went 6. But people, you either fall in love with these guys or you don't. But I think Shedeur could be one of those guys that ends up going late, goes to a really good situation where he can develop and become a really good starter in the league. Now, Dan, 98% of them fail. Like, this is my thing about the draft. We all get here like all these dudes gonna turn into Hall of Famers. Like 4 of them do. every year, no matter what position, like 4 of them really turn out to be franchise changers, right? Most of these guys in the first round, they end up being really good starters, or they start and they play well and they are important pieces to these organizations. But the conversation around the draft is he gonna be the face of the franchise? Is he gonna change the team trajectory? The answer most of the time is hell no, right? But when you're drafting a quarterback, you're putting a lot of stock into this guy becoming what you hopefully think he can become based on your projections. I don't think Shedeur lacks any of those things that you think you can turn him into a really good starter. Now, it matters with coaching. It matters with situation. It matters, like even here, right, Green Bay. I remember how y'all were acting when Jordan Love got drafted. I'm not going to look. I see the crowd over there. I'm not going to look at their eyes, right? But I was one of the ones that said, like, at what point do you start the contingency plan? Like, do we wait till these guys literally die to get a new quarterback? No, you get a guy, you bring him in the system, you let him sit, you let him groom. He was behind a guy that won 2 MVPs while he was here in Aaron. So it was perfect. Now you walk into the Green Bay Stadium, it's number 10 jerseys everywhere, right? So I think you should have a plan. Pittsburgh is still waffling because they didn't have a plan, right? So if you're going to take these guys late in the draft, or even if you're New York and you just signed Russ and Jameis, right? And you decide at some 11th hour that Shedeur is going to be the guy, well, he still can sit and learn. Like, we're not paying these guys $50 million before they show up to the facility anymore. You can handle the financial part of it. So I don't see anything about Shedeur's game that tells me he can't turn into a really good starter in the league. I mean, think about it. Darren Orlovsky played 13 years.
No, he was on a team for 13 years. He was on a team for 13 years.
He
didn't necessarily play.
So a lot of teams thought he was serviceable.
As a backup.
I don't care.
Or a backup to the backup.
That was just a shot at Dan.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he takes enough shots.
He do. It doesn't stop. It's going to be forever.
But the only reason why I bring up, when you talk about Shedeur, is in today's NFL, as Steve Young says every time he's on the show, there is so much real estate out there for you to go get. The defenses are giving this to you. Yep. And if you don't have somebody who can go get that, you got to find somebody who can go get it. I think
he can go get 5 to 7, though. Like, bro, think about it. So
where did the athleticism go? Deion took all of it.
I know.
Didn't give any, to his son.
The Lord was like, I gave you all of it. Your kids can have. But you
does it skip a generation?
It
did in my family.
Like, my dad is only 5'10". You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Sucks for him. But again, man, like you look at these. We always have to be careful. First of all, Steve Young is Steve Young. So Steve was, and people forget, like Steve Young was the first like dual threat killer, right? In Randall Cunningham. These guys have been around for a long time. Like we it's so public now because we got media everywhere that we think that Lamar and Josh and all of these guys are first. Dude, the amount of athletes that play quarterback were, and you got to think, in the generation of most of those quarterbacks that before this group of guys now, they were all 2-3 sport athletes. that was the thing to do when we were growing up. You played basketball, you ran track, so they weren't just quarterbacks. But I look at it, can you go get me 5 yards on a 3rd and 4? And we drop back. Can you give me 8 to 10? I think Shador can do that. He's not going to break a home run, but how many of them really can? I mean,
Well, there's a few of them now.
But Dan, we talking about like 6 people. It's 32 teams.
Okay, but those are the elite quarterbacks. Those are the teams in the playoffs. Those are the teams winning Super Bowls.
I mean, we would all get them if they were all out there. It's supply and demand. Like, I can't subscribe.
But that's
to
my only holdup with Shador.
Yeah, but how, Dan? Literally, what you just said, right? It's 32 of them. It's like 7 of those guys. You're not gonna find. I don't think Cam Ward is a standout athlete.
He's pretty good.
He's solid.
He's pretty good.
But if you gonna compare,
Why are we yelling at each other?
I don't know.
Okay.
You just made me mad. But if you gonna compare him to Josh, you gonna compare him to.
I'm not.
Lamar.
I'm just saying getting 5 yards is Steve Young. I'm
look,
quoting
man,
Steve Young.
I saw Jared Goff get 18 yards. I saw who else I'm thinking about? Old man in L.A. right now,
Matthew Stafford.
Matt took off a couple times. Like we don't have to like think that these guys got to be 4.4s and you know. We've been for years trying to get Josh Allen not to run through people's face masks so we can watch him play for the next 15 years, right? So yeah, Dan, stop, man.
Okay, all right.
It's just not enough of them.
Why don't you take this enthusiasm to NFL Live today?
I will.
All right? That's a tease.
Yeah.
He's Marcus Spears, and he'll be with Dan Orlovsky, his good buddy, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Laura Rutledge, today at 4 Eastern, and extended editions Thursday and Friday beginning at 3 Eastern.
I love you, man.
Always great to see you.
I love you, brother. Thank y'all.
We'll take a break. Play of the Day's up next.